Hi guys. So contemporary fiction. You know, I always thought of contemporary fiction as character-driven literary fiction, but I am wrong. Contemporary fiction is reality-based, sure. It can be character-driven, absolutely. Women's fiction, this stuff can be quite literary, but that doesn't mean it's not popular fiction. So I just read chapter 1 on adrenaline blends, and I'm appropriately pumped up because it's like 6 degrees of separation. Like you go from, oh, if you like this, oh, if you like history, you'll like this book. And if you like this book, you'll like that book. And before you know it, you're at Dan Brown. Which I have read. I've read all of his, and what I really like about Dan Brown is the pacing, which really fits with an adrenaline blend, because it all happens in a very short time period. Like, you know, like it takes 2 days. It's kind of like that TV show 24, which was very groundbreaking for when it first came out in 2001, where each episode was 1 hour and it was chronological and it was 24 hours. Some of these books only take 24 hours. Some of Dan Brown's books only take 24 hours to unfold. It's just this big, long night of chasing, which I love. It's adrenaline, it's pacing. So in chapter 1, Adrenaline Blends, Megan McArdle says, even those who live for thrillers, die for adventure, and can't wait for their next suspense read might want to add some variety. And then she goes on to say the easiest way to find these blends is to start with an adrenaline based on real world action or adventure plot that happens to have a supernatural or fantastic twist. And there's a little bit of supernatural, because especially this one has lots about the Freemasons. Interestingly, there's lots of conspiracies as to why this is the only one they haven't made into a movie, that maybe the Freemasons want to suppress. Oh, you know, like that just titillates me. Anyhow, this is my favorite of the Dan Browns, which I'm just assuming everybody knows Dan Brown. The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons. I read Deception Point in the other one way back when. And then there's Inferno and Origins. And there might be other stuff he's written, but those are the main ones. Anyhow, what's neat about what I was saying about 60 degrees of separation, if you like this, I was telling somebody, oh yeah, I love this architecture, you know, archaeology, going back, and she's like, oh, well then you'll like James Rollins. So then I read Sandstorm and I'm like, yeah, this is good stuff. And then I did read Labyrinth by Kate Moss, because of course she, you know, somebody goes back in time 800 years to you know, a region of France, which actually is where my family's from, like, you know, 200 years ago. And that's why I'm this is a French thing, apparently. All this, when I play my videos back, I think, oh God, I'm moving my hand so much, but apparently it's a French thing. And then, like, say one book leads you to the next book that leads you to the next book. I mean, this is like how popular fiction works. But anyhow, when it comes to adrenaline blends, yeah, I've done my fair share of reading. I've read slower paced ones. Like I say, these are fast paced, because like the whole book, you don't want to put it down, because every next scene is like the next few minutes. Like there's no 3 weeks later. No, these are fast paced, but there's tons of exposition, which I love too. Like I would love to live in a world where I could go attend a Robert Langdon lecture at Harvard on symbology. Yeah, I eat that stuff up. And so there's lots of exposition in these books, but I don't mind getting a history lesson of, you know, the Washington Monument, and, you know, like and we were talking about world building in discussion last week. And even when you're building real worlds, it makes you want to travel there and see that. Like, you know, I totally want to go to Washington, D.C. after reading this book. Like, oh my goodness, I really want to go there. So anyhow, that's my video on contemporary.